Hello, I'm Shawn from Threads That Bind. In this video, I'm going to show you how I turn these punch needle patterns that I've designed into little pockets. So I have punched the Santa and the snowman here. I'll show you the back because that's probably the confusing part where people are thinking, what's all these lines about? Those are the lines that you follow after you've done all the punching, including putting the eyes on the snowman and the buttons. You take your scissor. I've ironed it. I've ironed the cloth around it, and I'm going to cut out on the solid line all the way around. The first seam that I do could be sewn on the sewing machine, but I just do it by hand. I'm a hand stitcher for the most part. The second seam would be pretty impossible to do on the sewing machine. So we're going to sew two seams. We're going to sew the back seam first. And by back seam, it's also the side seam, but it will become the back of the pillow here, or the pocket. So you fold it right sides together. And you could put a couple little pins there if you want. And we're going to hand stitch. It's a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. And I use a button and craft thread. Just one ply. Well, I don't know if it's one ply, but by that I mean I don't double it over. I just have one thickness of thread. I don't double the thread in the needle. And I just do a little running stitch all the way down. I've finished stitching the back seam, and all you do is just make a knot and cut your thread off. And then it kind of naturally already folds the way you want it to. So you can see that the inside is the right side of the punching. This is the back side of the punching, and it kind of lays itself open. This is the seam that would be pretty hard to do on a sewing machine because you have to kind of poke your finger down in and hold the punching out of the seam, if that makes sense, as you hand stitch across the bottom. So if you can see that, when I get there, I can open this seam up if I want. But right now, I'm just going to start over on one side with the rest of this thread. Sometimes when I'm doing just a running stitch like this, my first stitch will be a back stitch, just to lock that knot in so that when I gather it or pull the seam, it doesn't pull the knot through. And again, you have to keep close track that you're not sewing through the loops of your punching, but that you're getting close, kind of like when you're in the ditch. And once in a while, I do end up catching a loop, but it's not that major. You really won't be able to tell. I love this little idea of a pocket. I hope you do too. I hope to design more things with this style. Okay, I'll do a back stitch to end it, do a knot, and I will cut it. And that's it, because surprisingly, I want you to see, make sure if anyone has any question of what we're doing. And then you just turn it right sides out. And get this little something pointed into the corner. Push that corner out. And so that's what you end up with when you've turned it right sides out. And then you just fold this down in. And I did stitch a couple of those into that corner. I was trying to hurry. But you get the idea. And I believe on these that I stitched a little decorative running stitch across the top there just for fun. But this is a little pocket then that you can, I added a wire to each one of these by just simply taking a large needle and kind of making a hole in the cloth, or an opening, not necessarily a hole. And then I just took a 20 gauge wire, put it in one side, and bent it over into the other side so that it could have that to hang from, and stuffed it with a little greenery. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.